Good morning, everyone. I'm really glad to be here with you today. My name is Julio, and I belong to the engineering department of INTARCON. In today's webinar, we will talk about the project module of our calculation software, CLIENT360. First, we will do a quick comparison of how technical project studies were solved in the past and how they have evolved to the present. Next, a case study will be presented as an example to explain the project's module of our calculation tool. Finally, we will move on to view all the possibilities that this module offers to us online. Okay, so to really understand where we are at, it's often helpful to know where we are coming from. So, if we look back, we will realize that the way technical projects were studied and managed in the not so distant past has changed quite a bit compared to how it is done today. Similarly, refrigerant gases have evolved from CFCs and HCFCs in domestic and commercial applications to natural solutions with low or zero global warming power. This evolution responds to recent regulations introduced by laws like the F-gas regulation. Aligned with this goal, at INTARCON, we are betting on solutions that include the use of natural refrigerants like ammonia or propane, which provide very good performance. A few years ago, access to technology was more limited and only available to a small part of the population. Not everyone could afford a specialized software to safely carry out a thermal needs study. On the other hand, it was harder to access specific technical information than it is today. There weren't as many online sources or databases, and the options were more limited. Also, technical studies were mostly done on paper, and even though tools like Excel were already being used, calculations and analysis were mainly done manually, since simulation software wasn't as common as it is today. Currently, we may have been concerned about how to unify information and manage it from one place. Well, we will show you the solution in a minute. On the other hand, the way we communicate has also gone through a huge change. Although email and phone calls are still the main and most common ways to communicate and share information, most of the people listening to me right now would agree that tools like WhatsApp or Telegram play a key role in our daily work activities. In general, we would agree that technologically, both the way we communicate and the possibilities to access sources of information as well as calculation tools have made great progress in just a few years. Similarly, project management has also evolved. Therefore, from INTARCON, we present an intuitive and simple calculation tool that allows you to determine the thermal needs of your installation or process. This tool is CLIENT360, which my colleagues have already presented in previous webinars. Today, I will talk to you about the projects section, an environment where you can store the calculations as well as other relevant information in our project, such as plans, datasheets, technical manuals, etc. Additionally, this information will always be accessible in your CLIENT360 account, and you can access it wherever you need. Creating an account and signing up for CLIENT360 offers some advantages, which I will explain in detail in a few minutes. These benefits are comprehensive project management, as you can see in the screen. You will be able, in this manner, to create, to manage, and bring the projects all together in one place. Also, you will be able to collaborate in real time with your local sales representative of the technical office of INTARCON. You will be able to save calculations relative to your projects, including datasheets, call rooms calculations, etc. Also, you will be able to easily modify your duplicate calculations, allowing you to adapt to any changes in your works. Of course, you also can customize the language, the unit system, and create shortcuts. Well, now let's move on the case study that we will explain today. We have a supermarket located in the southern Cordoba countryside. This supermarket has an area for refrigeration and freezing of various products, as you can see. And additionally, the property has started a new business line involving the storage and later sale of grape juice. So, the refrigeration and freezing chambers are shown in the plan. There is a fruit and vegetable storage chamber, 3 chambers for storing and preparing meat products, and a freezing chamber. In the positive chambers, double flue type and cubic type air coolers will be installed. On the other hand, the freezing chambers will have a compact unit installed, as you can see. All the air coolers in the positive chambers and the cooling tank will be hydraulically connected to a glycol chiller. The tank will keep the grape juice at 10 degrees and it will be placed next to the building. Okay, this table shows a summary of the dimensions and features of the cold rooms. It also includes the results of the cooling capacity calculations and the equipment selected to meet the cooling capacity requirements of each one. As we can see, the cooling power required by the tank plus that of the medium and high temperature chambers adds up to approximately 32 kilowatts. This power will be met by our glycol chiller, which provides a capacity of 38 kilowatts. On the other hand, The freezing chamber requires a cooling capacity of approximately 2.1 kilowatts, which will be covered by a compact ceiling unit from the new range developed by INTARCON. This is the INTERTOP Pro. This unit belongs to the new range of compact equipment with the refrigerant R290, which my colleague Jose explained in previous webinars, and I recommend you to watch. Now, we will explain the project's module in CLIENT360. Okay. The first thing we need to do is enter our username and password. Once we have logged in with our account, we will go to the Projects section, as you can see in the screen. In the first view, we can access three sections: our personal area, share projects, and my own projects. Let's start with personal area. Here, we can store all calculations we need and modify them at any time. Okay, this is the dashboard from which we can access the projects we have created. As you can see, here we have the latest projects created by ourselves, and for the down, the latest shared with us. Now, if we go to Share Projects, we will find our case study, which has been shared with us by INTARCON. If we enter our project, we will be able to get into different sections. Here, we have the calculations of thermal demand of our cameras and our process. As you can see, in this section, we can keep all calculations that will help us selecting our units. So we have the camera calculations, the refrigeration equipment, the indoor units, and our outdoor unit. Okay, also this information can be reviewed to make any changes if necessary. And finally, if we want, we can change the name and to delete them. If we go back to the dashboard of our project, we find the section Documentation. In this section, we can store all PDF files that we need, like the blueprints or the plans, calculations explained before, units data sheets, technical manuals, etc. In this section, we can create and organize all folders that we need in our way. Okay, and in the settings section, we can enter relevant data such as the name, the location, description, and the current state, the current status of our project. Now, I will explain how to modify our project. Let's imagine that the characteristics of our facility have changed. For example, the size of the meat preservation and cold room has been reduced. So we have to go to the button, review and duplicate. Imagine that the new size of our camera have a length of 5 meters. The button has been modified into 4 meters and the height is the same as before. The other characteristics don't have any change, and as a result, as we can see, we have a different total cooling capacity. So, if we save this calculation in our project, this information will be updated automatically. As we can see, here we have the old calculation and the new one. Now, at this point, it will be necessary to modify the equipment assigned to this room. So what we will do is to select a new system that meets the new conditions and save it. So let's do it. All we need to do is to introduce the characteristic of our new cooling capacity. First, we introduce the cold room temperature, which is 0 degrees. Next, we change the cooling capacity into the new one, which is 3,572 watts. The inlet water temperature, which is a negative temperature, and the outlet temperature. Also, the maximum pressure drop will be 45 kilopascal. So selecting the temperature regime into the medium temperature and the construction of our unit, which is cubic type, we click on calculate. Now here we have the new model of our refrigeration unit, and all we need to do is to save this calculation in our project, as you can see in the screen. Okay, if we go back to our project, I would also like to show you the simulations we can run on the equipment already saved in our project. For example, let's imagine that the outdoor conditions are more extreme than initially assumed. By simply changing the ambient temperature, we can check by simple changing the ambient temperature, we can check that the cooling unit still provides the required power for the installation. We can also adjust the glycol percentage or the inlet and outlet water temperatures. So, it's important to know the option to mark the project as favorite. If we are inside our project, we can see this star icon in the top right corner of the screen. If we click on it, our project will be saved as a favorite, and we will be able to access it from any area of CLIENT360. Okay. If we go back to My Projects section, we find all the projects created by ourselves. In this section, it's important to know that you will be able to share these projects with the technical office of INTARCON through the sales representatives by entering the email address if you need technical advice, okay? So, before we dive into the other projects we have prepared, I would like to briefly explain how to create a new project. Also, all we need to do is go to the bottom right corner of the screen. There we find the blue button with a plus sign. If we click on that button, we access the project creator, where we will enter the necessary information. Once this is done, we click the Save button, and we will be able to access the menu to manage our project. Okay. Let's imagine now that we need to offer a solution that uses refrigerants with low or zero global warming power. This represents a safe, an efficient, and environmentally sustainable option. For this, one of the best solutions we can offer is the amolite chiller. So, as you can see, the amolite chillers use ammonia as the refrigerant gas. One of the main advantages being the low refrigerant charge that they use, which is about 70 grams per kilowatt. Okay, so in this case, the chiller with the highest capacity from their range is shown on the screen. Under standard conditions of water flow and ambient temperature, this unit provides a cooling capacity of approximately 700 kilowatts, as you can see. If we need now to modify our calculation conditions, we can see the other calculation with the new conditions. And we can see that the new cooling cooling capacity has been modified. Another advantage offered by the program is the partial load calculation. So, this section allows us to simulate the operating point of the equipment at a power level different from the maximum it can provide. For example, if the needs of our installation were about 655 kilowatts, this power would be achieved with the performance we see in the screen, okay? But partial load calculations will be more extensively explained in future webinars. So if we wait that the calculation tool makes its work, we can also refresh our page, and then I will go to show you another section of our project. The other section that I want to talk to you is activity, in which we can see all the operations we have executed as we worked on the project. Okay, so we are again in our personal area. As we have seen throughout this webinar, CLIENT360 offers us a wide range of features and possibilities to manage our refrigeration projects in a global and unified way, allowing us to make any changes and modifications that we need and keep them organized in a very visual manner. So, in the last case that I want to show you, we need to meet the cooling capacity requirements for the cold rooms with the new range of A2L split systems. These units, as we know from previous webinars, represent sustainable solutions thanks to the use of the R455A refrigerant, which has a global warming power less than 150. As we can see, we need to meet a cooling demand for both medium and low temperatures. So, in this way, the best choice would be the units shown in the screen, which provide the necessary power required. Let's imagine that Again, the characteristics of our chambers have changed, and their dimensions are modified. No problem, as we could calculate the chamber with the new dimensions and select the equipment directly. All we need to do is to access to the load calculations, cold rooms, and enter the new dimensions. So imagine that in our new situation, one of our cold rooms, for example, conservation, the cold room at a negative temperature of our project, has the new size that I am showing you. Okay, so once we have introduced the new size of our chamber, we keep the rest of the data unchanged, and we can see the new total cooling capacity has changed, and in selection section, we should input the necessary parameters. So we need a low temperature equipment in split match construction as we had in our original situation. We select the refrigerant and the version of our unit. Then we go and we calculate the unit with these parameters. And as you can see, the unit which fits in a better way our new situation is the unit shown in the screen. But we can also explore the possibility of offering a solution with a compact units from the new NPD range mentioned earlier. To do this, we simply modify the selection parameters. So we click on compact wall mounted. The refrigerant propane and the new version, which is the Pro range unit. So if we click again in calculate, the program shows us the units that will fit and will meet the cooling capacity of our new situation and our new cold chamber situation. Okay, so to finish, I will mention that we can select the language we want from those available, as well as the unit system that best fits our case. As we have seen, CLIENT360 refrigeration calculator and its project module allow us to easily and intuitively manage our refrigeration projects and provide a quick and efficient response to any changes that may occur. Similarly, it allows us to have all the relevant information organized in only one place. So that's all, and I'd like to thank you for attending. Now we will go over any doubts and questions that have come up.